What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how to convert the front end of your 4Runner Limited to the front end of the TRD Pro. So it's been a while since I made a video. The reason being is I've been collecting parts and doing a lot of research on how to replace this front end of the 4Runner Limited to the TRD Pro. There are quite a few parts. It isn't as simple as just pulling off the bumper cover and putting the other one on. There's some parts underneath, and there's a lot of different kind of like housing and grills and stuff that you have to replace. And there's some stuff on the inside as well, air deflectors and kind of supports and stuff like that. So I've done a lot of research. I'll leave all the parts in the description below. I have a huge part list. I've also got some things you can supplement different parts with on your build to maybe save you some money or kind of just do some upgrades while you're doing this. It has taken a bit of time to kind of put this together. A lot of this stuff is kind of scattered throughout different forums online and that sort of thing. I wasn't able to find a good video on YouTube that kind of takes you through it, so I thought I'd make one for you guys. I'm very excited. I've always wanted to replace this bumper. I just don't really like this big chrome grille. It's just not very attractive to me. And I like the openness of the TRD Pro, so I'm really excited to do this. I hope it's a smooth process, but yeah, let's get into it. I guess first step would be painting the bumper, so let's talk about that. All right, so for supplies for painting your 4Runner bumper, what I picked up here was some 400 grit sandpaper from the automotive store. This is sandpaper that you can use wet or dry. You'll want to wet sand your bumper when you first get it. It will come probably pre-primed. So just give it a nice wet sand with this 400 grit paper and then wash it off. After you're done doing the wet sand, you want to hit it with some wax and grease remover or isopropyl alcohol. I might just use isopropyl alcohol today. And this is just to kind of get off any residue or contaminants that could screw up your paint. Once you're done kind of washing it off, maybe blow it off with some compressed air or just use shop towels that won't leave any sort of lint or anything behind. So yeah, just make sure you kind of blow it off, and then you'll want to hit it with a primer. I got this as a 2-in-1. This is kind of a high build primer. It doesn't have an activator. Some of them will have it, but it's not really necessary for a primer. They didn't recommend that from the automotive paint store, so I just went with this one. This is what they recommended. You'll want to get matched paint to your car. You'll need to open up your driver's side door, and in there will be a tag, and it will have your paint code. So mine was 1G3, and I can show you where that is. It's just inside your driver's side door. And then I'm going to finish it off with this clear coat here. And this one is an activated clear coat. So I'll pop this cap off and push this bottom in, and it will release an activator inside here. And that means it's a really high quality clear coat. The fact that it has the activator, it will form a nice, hard, good clear coat. I wouldn't cheap out on your clear coat. You want a good clear coat, something that's not gonna fade or peel over time. And this is what's actually gonna protect your base coat and your even your primer under there. And it will just protect your bumper. So have a good clear coat. You'll need a respirator to do all this. So pick up one of these dual cartridge respirators. You don't wanna breathe this stuff in. I think that pretty much concludes it for supplies there once you've built your stand. So yeah, those are the supplies that you'll need. All right, so we've gone through the process of painting that front bumper cover there. You don't really have to paint your own front bumper cover. You could send it off and have a professional do it just to kind of take the stress out of it. Or you can go online to a website called Partify. It's actually a Canadian website, and you order the bumper cover for your vehicle. So if you order the SR5 or the TRD Pro bumper, you're paying for the bumper, but you're also paying for them to paint the bumper to match your car. So if you have your paint code from the inside of your driver's side door there, just get that code, you enter in the website, you enter the bumper you want, and they'll paint match it, send it to you, and it'll be all ready to go. It's actually not a bad option, because if you do buy the good quality paint, it is quite expensive. So, by doing it myself, I only saved a little bit of money, not that much really. So that's a nice option. But let's get into removing the front bumper now. And yeah, I'll leave links to the Partify so you could see where you can get that bumper. But yeah, let's get this bumper cover off and get into the job. All right, so we have just to remove this top cover here. As you can see, we have some little tabs that we have to pop out. So let's do that. What I find works good is if you use a little screwdriver like this. So just try to get under it, pop it up, and the tab will just come out like that. All right, so I got them all off, popped all those little tabs off. There's 13 in total, and then you can just pop this out. All right, so the next step is to remove these 3 little bolts to get our fender loose. You want a 10 millimeter for this. just come in and loosen these up. It appears as though the longest one's on the top and then you have two shorter ones down below. All right, so once you get those 10 mil bolts off, take a pry tool like this, and you're gonna wanna kind of push in here and kind of push this tab forward to break it loose. There we go. Yeah, now it's disengaged, so it's basically loose here. All right, so if we come down here and underneath the bumper, we got two more, I believe 10 mils, so. Great, so those are undone. Okay, so we got all those bolts undone now along here and underneath. There's kind of a tab that sticks out here a little bit. So what you'll do is you'll pull this out, kind of off of this tab. As soon as you pull that out, the bumper just pops out. It's just a whole bunch of little clips that run along here that it just pushes into, and they come out actually quite easily. So good, there's that section done. We can actually kind of get in there. We can see our fog lights and some of the wiring. I can see these sensors. We're gonna have to put these on the new bumper, so I'll have to drill holes in the new bumper over there and actually relocate these parking sensors. And I can actually see where those kind of bolt up there. Good, so yeah, let's move on to the next part. Great, so we've done that one side, so you come over here to the passenger side and we would do the 3 10 mils here and the 2 10 mils underneath and then pop that bumper out. Once you've done that, we'll come to the front of the bumper here, and just under here, you're gonna have 2 10 mils that bolt the bumper kind of up to a support. So let's take a look here. So there's one of the 10 mils. And we'll undo the other one here. All right, so we got those 2 bolts there from the bottom bumper that holds it onto those brackets. Now what we'll do is we'll come up to the top again here, and we have the headlight comes up and it kind of points in its corner, and we just have these. We got to pop these off on each side here. We'll pop these. You can put a little flathead screwdriver under there, just pop those up and that tab will come out. And then we have another bolt. So here's our Toyota symbol. We come directly up here. We got one here, and that looks like a 10 mil as well, so let's do those. Let's get those off. All right, so we got those off. Now there's a few more tabs that are kind of in here, so we'll come up and right in here. We got 4 that just run along. Same kind of style of pop tabs. Just pop those off. Little flathead screwdriver. Just pop those. Great. All right, so all the tabs are now taken off. The bumper, be careful because the bumper is loose. It can just pop out now at this point. So, you know, mine already started to, so we'll just kind of keep it in there, make sure it's secure. And then you're gonna come down and you need to unplug your parking sensor and your fog lights. So those wires don't get caught as the bumper comes off. So the best way to do this, I find, is to lie on your back. Make sure you put glasses on because dirt and stuff will fall in your eyes. There's a lot of dirt and stuff that gets trapped into these bumpers. But you're gonna come and you wanna look up from the bottom of the vehicle here, and you can kind of visually look up and you can look into the fog light housing, and there's a little clip here. So we need to undo this clip. There, unplug it. And here's your parking sensor. So I think I just have to come around to the driver's side and undo a wire there, and it should be free. So I'm on the driver's side now, and I looked up and I've unplugged my fog light here. And you can see another plug up here. And this is for our parking sensors. And that's what attaches them into the vehicle. There's just one wire, it comes in and it goes to this parking sensor here, and then it kind of runs along inside your bumper to the other one. So we'll just undo this clip here, and then our parking sensor should be disconnected from the main harness. All right, so for the parking sensor, I found a good way to do it was to actually pop. There's a little white clip that attaches the connection to the frame. You want to pop that clip off. I just used a flathead screwdriver, popped it off, and then I was able to kind of get on top, push my thumb on the clip, and just pull it apart. So I'll just show you that. So I undid this white, just pulled this out, pop this white clip off, and then at the top there'll be a little button here. You press with your thumb, and then you can pop it apart. Just make sure you put a blanket down or something on the floor so you don't scratch all this chrome. And then you're just gonna pop out all the clips. And the bumper should pull away. All right, so this is the plug I was just telling you about. It's kind of difficult to reach in there, but there's a little plug or a little push tab you push and you can pop this out. These are our parking sensors. So there's one, and then it runs along, and there's the other over there. So in our new bumper, what we'll have to do is we'll have to put these somewhere. From what I've read online and other jobs that other guys have done, a good location for these seems to be right about here. So this kind of, follow this along, and then right in this little spot here seems to be a great spot for them. So to remove the sensors, just squeeze here and pop them out. Pretty easy to do. And there's our little kind of fitting. We're gonna have to drill a hole and put this fitting on our new bumper. I think it should just push out the front. Yeah, there we go. And there it is. So we'll drill a hole and we'll pop that into the new bumper. All right, so a little drill bit like this works great. It kind of gives you a whole bunch of different diameters. And then just kind of place it into the hole here. All right, so where did it stop here? Looks like it's about 1/13, 1/16 of a size of a hole there. So almost the full diameter. It's this last little tab here from the top. So yeah, we'll drill into the new bumper up until that point, and that should be the perfect diameter hole to put this new put these parking sensors into the new bumper. Let's do it. So I got the sensors in. There's a little circular tab that kind of the fitting that goes in. It has to be a certain orientation for the actual sensor to fit in that. So it only lines up a certain way. So you might have to pop those out, move them around a little bit, and then find what works. I had to actually do one of them horizontally here. And then this one is kind of more on a vertical angle, just because of the contour of the bumper. It's the only way it really fit together properly. All right, so we'll start moving our fog lights over now. So to do that, on the old bumper, you'll have these little tabs here. You'll have to undo these and slide them out. What you'll want to do is just push them in. Let's get the camera positioned here. You're going to pull this way and push down this tab. Great, so slide that out, and then you'll have another one of those right up here. So we got 3 out, so we did 1, 2, and then a third one here. And then there's a little screw here, little Phillips. Stick our Phillips head screwdriver. It's pretty tight. A couple little metal tabs you'll actually have to push in, and that's what will release it. So great, and there we go. All right, so once you get your fog light out, you have 2 screws here you need to undo. So let's do that. And this is what's going to release your fog light from the housing. Great. There you go. Now your fog light comes right out. And we're going to put this fog light into the new bumper, kind of like that. All right, so to get the fog lights in, it's a little tricky. What you have to do is you have to take the fog light and get these 2 tabs. So come from the front and get those 2 tabs in first, and then get the fog light flat, and you'll have 2 little spots where you can put your screws in here. You do have to kind of really force down, get it in those holes and then push in, pop it through, and then kind of line these up. It's not very easy, but it is doable. But yeah, I'm now ready to put the screws in, so let's do that. Let's get the screws into the new bumper to really secure this light in place. All right, so we put our fog lights in, we got that trim on the front. Now I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna put this grille in the center here. There's a whole bunch of kind of openings along the bottom and top. And if you actually look on the bumper itself, it's got a bunch of little tabs here. I feel like all I really have to do is push this in and all those tabs should click up and push into the new grille. So let's give that a shot. So you can see these little tabs, they all line up. And I think really all I have to do is apply pressure, yeah, and push them all in. All right, so the easiest way to clip that grille in is to remove this metal piece here. There's a metal piece. There's a bunch of kind of stainless steel screws that you'll have to remove, and then you can pop this out. Once that's out, it's more flexible and you can actually pop into the tabs easier. And then I'll reapply this just for stability to keep it nice and strong and rigid. So I'll put that back on now. All right, so now I'm going to remove the upper part of the bumper there, the upper grille. I have ordered a TRD Pro styled upper grille. Got that from 4Runner Lifestyles online. Shipping is taking forever. I don't know why. It's stuck somewhere in California, so I'm waiting for that to come in. But in the meantime, what I'll do is take off the upper part of the grille off the 4Runner Limited and use that until I get my TRD Pro grille. So let's pop that off the Limited bumper and let's pop it onto the new TRD Pro bumper. Go. All right, so it's literally just a bunch of push tabs to pop this off. There's a couple that you'll kind of have to squeeze with your finger, almost like a little button that will come loose on each end, and then the rest will just kind of pop out and it should just come loose. So yeah, let's pop this onto the new TRD Pro bumper. Like I said before, I'm waiting for my TRD Pro style upper grille to show up, but it's not here yet, so I'll just use this in the meantime. All right, so this basically just slides in and it will just clip in. There's a whole bunch of little tabs that have to line up here, so let's flip it over. So these little tabs all have to line up, and then this upper bumper, basically you just get them all lined up and just slide it in. It's looking pretty good so far. We're looking pretty complete. But yeah, let's start switching some of the parts around. We have to remove this crash bar here. We have to remove these kind of supports, and then we also have to remove an air deflector, I believe on the passenger side there. So let's do that now. All right, so I have the air deflector here. It should fit. Apparently just replacing the passenger side is all you need to do. And to remove this one, I think there's just a tab here that needs to be pulled off. So come in here, we'll just pop this little tab. Another one of those little push tabs. And then it should just come out quite easily, I think. Great, so that's out. All right, so with the air deflector out of the way here, I've taken that out. I had good access to my crash bar here, so I undid 4 bolts on each side. They're 14 millimeters. So there was 4 here, 4 here. It does kind of, this whole crash bar kind of has a little hook, so it'll actually kind of stay in place. But in order to actually fully remove it, after you remove those 4 14 millimeter bolts on each side, you have to come under the vehicle. There is a 10 millimeter little nut here, or bolt, and it's just a little bracket that attaches to the plastic that kind of follows it along and goes to the mud guard there. All right, so we've removed the 4 bolts on each side, those 14 millimeters. We got the 2 10 millimeters underneath. Now the crash bar should just lift up and pull out, so let's try that now. Good, so at this stage you would take your new crash bar and put it in. The TRD Pro, the SR5, the Trail has a shorter crash bar. The Limited has a bigger one for the bigger bumper. This will not work, so you can buy a new one of these, but they are pretty pricey. I took the money that I would spend on this, added a little bit more money to it, and I bought a winch bumper. I bought the Body Armor Highline winch bumper. It has an LED light bar in it. I just figured, why spend the money on this when I could upgrade to an off-road winch bumper. So that's what I will be putting in. If you're not doing a winch bumper and you did buy the new crash bar from Toyota, that would go just in here and you would bolt that up now with those 14 millimeters. All right, so we have these 2 little supports that go into the headlights here. They're a different shape. The bumper on the Limited's more flat here, whereas I believe the TRD Pro bumper or SR5 kind of comes in more. So this is more of a support just to kind of contour to the bumper. What you're gonna need is a little Phillips, a little short Phillips, because you gotta come around under here and undo two screws here and here, and then that will come out. And then we can put our new one on, which looks like it requires 3 screws. So let's do that. There we go. It's got little areas that have to line up here on the top. So my suggestion before you put this new piece on is to take those screws and just put them through without this being on the car yet. Just put the screws through, and then when you go to put them in on the car, it'll be a lot easier to thread them in, because you're gonna have to use the screw to kind of eat through the plastic a little bit. And with that resistance and the strange angle you have to go on to get the screwdriver in there, it's just difficult. So kind of pre-run your screws, pull them out, then put them back on, and it will be a lot easier. I think now is a good time to put our skid plate in. I just have this knockoff TRD skid plate. It's nice thick aluminum though. Got this from Car Trim Home. If you buy the actual Toyota one, it's like $700. It's insane. A good company to check out is Green Lane Off-Road. They make a really nice aluminum skid plate, and it's good quality, and it's well priced, and it's very similar to this one. So check them out, Green Lane Off-Road. Maybe I'll leave a link in the description to their site. But yeah, let's get this old skid plate unbolted and get the new skid plate installed. So coming under the car here, you have 4 12 millimeter bolts that will need to come undone. All right, so to install the aftermarket skid plate, it's a different bolting location from your 4Runner Limited's skid plate. So you're gonna have a bolt here, here, and one here on this little beam. It kind of follows down from this bolt. So you're gonna take this one off, follow it down, remove this one. Same thing on this side, remove this bolt, follow it down, take off that one. And those are the locations to mount. That's where it's gonna bolt up for your new skid plate. So let's do that now. Awesome, new skid plate's in. It's looking really nice. It's bolted in there nice and firmly. All right, let's move on to the next step. All right, so just about ready to put the bumper back on the vehicle. There's some stuff I want to tidy up before I do that, and that is the parking assist. I just kind of have this wire flapping around in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my drill. I'm going to drill some holes in these little tabs, kind of on the outside here. Drill a hole here, 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 and I'll just use some zip ties, and we'll zip tie that line onto the bumper on the inside there to kind of clean it up. Right, so you can see I've kind of mounted that up. Follows along. All right, so I got all that mounted up. I did put a little clip just in the top here of this grill. There's a little kind of a tab that has to clip in. Just use a little black push tab clip, pop that in, Got that wire nicely tucked in there. I think we're just about ready now to put the bumper back on the vehicle, so let's give that a shot. We'll get the electrical connections plugged in, the fog lights, those parking sensors. Let's hope that this thing mounts up nicely. Let's do it. All right, so we're about to mount the bumper up. If you are going to replace your mud guards with the SR5, the TRD Pro, or the trail ones, you can do that now. I'm keeping my limited mud guards on here, and the reason being is that they're larger than the SR5, so you can actually trim them to fit if you want to save some money. You know, they won't bolt up perfectly and stuff like that to the front bumper cover. You might have to kind of jimmy rig some stuff. I'm probably going to cut mine anyways to do the Viper chop. If you don't know what the Viper chop is, it's a certain cut on the bumper. Gives you better approach angles for off-roading, kind of exposes your front tires more, and it really makes your front end look more aggressive. I'm planning on doing that, so I would be cutting these mud guards anyways. So there's no point in replacing them with an SR5 mud guard just to tear them up and cut them. So I'm just leaving mine the way they are, but if you were going to do that now. But yeah, let's mount this bumper on. All right, so I got the new bumper on. It's looking really good. I've got so much more clearance than my old bumper. You can see how low that mud flap is hanging down. I'm gonna trim that, but yeah, this new bumper really exposes those front tires. It looks really nice. Basically, to get it on, it was just push it in and everything kind of clipped in place. For the edges, the tire wells, the real trick is to pull it around that one tab and then it clips in, and then all the other clips will kind of just slide in after that. So what we'll do now is use these tabs here, and we're going to apply them here and here and there, 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 and there. And that will just secure the bumper to the vehicle. And then there is screws in the bottom as well that need to be applied. So let's do that now. Great, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we just have our little 10mm bolt here. All right, so now let's plug in our parking sensor and our fog lights. So we'll have to come under our fender here. This is kind of a tight spot, but see if we can get in there. So looking up from under the vehicle here, kind of pull this mud flat back and just look up. Perfect. Got it clicked in there, and we'll just push its little tab back in the frame to hold it. Remember where it went? There we go. Perfect. That's all connected. We got our parking, we got our fog light. Now we'll come around the other side and do the other fog light. All right, so for the side of the bumper, what you're going to want to do is, for this plastic, these don't really line up with the new bumper. The holes for these ones are up here. The other holes were down here, so you're going to want to pop this off, pop these off of this old bumper or off of this old mud guard. And you want to drill holes. So figure out what the diameter here, pop your drill bit on, put a new hole through. You'll want to pop this new clip into the new hole, clip, and then slide it up and clip it onto the bumper, and then put your new bolt through, or your new screw into there. So let's do that. All right, we'll slide this piece on here. All right, so basically we just have a bunch of clips here, these ones. Make sure all the holes are lining up, they all look good. I could come along and clean this up a little bit more later, but I won't do that for demonstration's sake, because that'll be kind of boring to watch. If you did replace the crash bar with the SR5, the TRD Pro, or the Trail one, if you're not planning on putting on a winch bumper, like I am, your SR5 TRD Pro crash bar will have little brackets that come off it. So you will fasten the lower part of your bumper cover using this bolt here, this little nut. You'll fasten it to your crash bar there. There's 2 in the middle, and then you will have another 2 over here. As the bracket does come out, it will screw on to that bracket. And those 2, I believe the hardware for those will be this one here and this one here. But as I am not doing that, I'm not putting the stock crash bar back in because I'm doing the winch bumper. I'm not going to do that here, but I just wanted to show you that's where those mounting spots are. So if you do have that stock crash bar in, definitely mount it up that way. All right, so I think that summarizes the install here of the TRD Pro front bumper onto the 4Runner Limited. Unfortunately, I didn't do the upper part here, this grille garnish that you can get from 4Runner Lifestyles. Mine just is stuck in California somewhere, so I haven't done that. So I'll probably make another video where I cover that. I also didn't cover the front valance here. There is a front valance that would go in through these little slots, and then the pins would hold it in place. Like I said before, I am cutting this out to put a winch bumper in here. That's going to be in the next video, so I didn't bother doing that, but that's how you do that. A thing I would like to mention is that I didn't use as many clips as I thought I would need. So in the description below, I'll have a whole bunch of parts, and there's a number of clips there. When I punched in my part numbers, I did it in a lot of them in Rock Auto, and I got off-branded stuff. So this fog light housing actually had clips already built into it that popped in, and this grille here had a whole bunch of clips. It kind of just popped into this aftermarket or off-brand from bumper cover. So I may have saved some clips doing it that way. Let me know how your project goes. Leave a comment below. You know, if you do the project and you find you're not using as many clips, let me know. This bumper does mount up just like the 4Runner Limited into all the same places. So I used all the same kind of push tabs to secure this one in, the same screws along the sides, and I believe a lot of the hardware underneath here to secure it is the same as well. But yeah, I do really love this bumper. You know, it really shows off the front wheels. It really improves the approach angles, and it really shows that front skid plate off under here, which I think is a nice, you know, aesthetic option for the vehicle. So really happy with how this looks. It looks much better than that big chrome kind of strange bumper that had no flow. It looks much more aggressive, much more rugged, much more off-road. I'm really happy with it. If you guys like the video, please like and subscribe. In the next video, I'm going to be doing the push bumper or the winch bumper in the front here. So that'll be a neat video. Eventually I'll do a light bar, LED light bar in the winch bumper, which I'll make a video for. And I think I will be making a video when I do the TRD Pro garnish and grille on the upper part here. So hope you guys found the video useful. You know, if you have any comments or any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. And I'll leave some notes in the description just on things you might need to know when doing this conversion. But yeah, I hope you guys found the video useful. If you did, please like and subscribe. Hope to come out with a lot more videos and always appreciate your support. Hope to see you in the next one, guys. Talk to you later. Bye now.